ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Check this out, we got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for good friend and colleague, Mr. Matthew George. Go follow him at MG28 Sports on the Twitter or X or whatever the bleep we're calling it today. NBA Finals officially begin tonight. Holy cow. It seems like it's been forever since we saw an NBA game. Hats off to Edmonton. Wins game 1 of the Stanley Cup in fine fashion. 4-3 in overtime. Leon Draisaitl, 2 goals, the game winner in overtime. Scored the first goal in the first 3+ minutes. Yes, ECSI does have a Conn Smythe winner, Leon Draisaitl, plus 750 in pocket. I think they go back and play on Saturday. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. Travis, Zach, Guy, myself, Carol Bucks, Amber Hawley, Ali, Matthew. The list is endless. Jay Barry, come on board. Trust me. You'll enjoy the app. It will actually make you a smarter, better, or /investor. So jump on board there. AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Jump on over to Facebook. Introduce yourself to Terry Smith. Follow him. Then come on back to AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Steaks, chops, seafood, appetizers, wine. Terry's got it all. And he's also got 4 subscription plans. Just set it and forget it like I do. Every 30 days, this big box of protein that will take you through the month. The only thing you need is a spare propane tank, which I needed to go and refill 2 days ago as I was getting set to grill my filet mignon, my New York strip, and some lamb. So come on board. I promise you, Terry will take good care of you. So without further ado, Mr. Matthew George.
Jeff, good morning.
Good morning. The time is here. We've made it. OKC. Minus 700, 750 in some shops. Currently minus 685 at the Circa. Good morning to Mr. Benson and his staff. Before we dive in, I have to personally thank Jeffrey Benson and his staff. The older you get, it seems like they're forcing us out, Matthew. That's social. That's the, not the analytics, the app department and all the technology. And I had to update my Circa app. And when I did that, then I needed my account number. I needed my password. Well, it was just set it and forget it. 4 hours later, back and forth, we got it. We're all set. And the patience that the Circa had, Mr. Benson and everyone else, if it was DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, Caesars, I'd still be on hold. So I wanted to thank them there. But you can get Indiana plus 510 in the series. And I know this, Matthew. In the NBA, big dogs, layoffs, rust versus rust. It's game one usually when the dogs are barking the loudest. Initial thoughts of the whole series ahead of us, and then we'll get into game one.
Yeah, the series is going to be very interesting if the Pacers can find a way to steal a game, especially on the road. That would be huge for this team because on my end, I'm saying that this series goes five. Projectingly, as if my fandom really wants it for OKC, I want it to be a sweep. But it's going to be very interesting to see how everything unfolds in game one tonight. Game one tonight is going to be the focal point of how this rest of the series goes. The way OKC's offense and defense really tallies and is one of the best in the league and is the top tier. And that's why they made it to the finals so basically very easily, except being in that swing with the Denver Nuggets. On the other side, the Pacers need to find a way to solidify their offense, like how they did against the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, but also need to find a way on how to guard some of these good players on OKC because they are young, they are talented, they are fast. So they can run you up. Both teams can run up the boards like crazy, but it's a matter of who could play defense much better. And to me, I think that's the Thunder. The Thunder have been getting a lot more attention, especially in the in the markets as well. But the way that I'm seeing the series, OKC in five, possibly even in sweep.
Mr. Derby says the Dort Halliburton matchup and SGA Naismith matchups are going to be interesting. Will the refs let them play, or are we going to get a ticky tack?
I'm gonna go with the tiki tack derby. I appreciate the comment. I think that as well because when Coach and I did the podcast this week, we were actually previewing it yesterday. Um, the matchup between Lou Dort and Tyrese Halliburton is going to be very, very interesting per se for Tyrese Halliburton because Lou Dort is a great defender, and not to mention he can shoot the ball. The problem with Tyrese Halliburton on the defensive end, he can't really play defense. So Coach agreed, and I agreed with him as well that he, on a prop market perspective, Tyrese Halliburton will go under 17 and a half points. So if you want to take a look at any specials with that or any prop markets in terms of of series specials in terms of players, we would go under 17 and a half points for Tyrese Halliburton because he's gonna get it. He and I believe that he's gonna get exposed on defense. So that's why he's gonna probably either turn over the ball a lot in this series, or it's just not going to get a lot of scoring opportunities because Lou Dort is going to be defending Tyrese Halliburton. On the other side, with SGA and Aaron Naismith, is going to be a big, big defensive task for Aaron Naismith because while he isn't a great defender, I mean, I don't know how you stop SGA. Even whoever you put on him, I don't know who you could stop. Who could stop the regular season MVP and Western Conference MVP. So there's a lot on the line for Aaron Naismith to guard him, but it's a very big task. He could probably do it. I just don't see how far he can go.
You know, for people with futures, for people trying to figure out how to get into this game or this series, not many people are walking to the window and laying minus 685 in the series here. If the Pacers can steal game one, then that will drop them down to probably minus 300, even though they lost the first game here. Indiana would go from plus 10 probably to plus 210 here. Hearing a lot of gentlemen sweeps, OKC in five. I said that on Monday and Wednesday on the Sports Grid with Dave Sharapin and Scott Wetzel there with yourself last night. A lot of people saying, hey, like myself, the Pacers can steal a game in OKC. I think it's the first game. I really do.
Mhm.
And then it will be interesting. Game three, the crowd. OKC if you look at their how their playoff run has been, they've laid that egg at least once on the road in a game. So it just play the game here. If the Pacers steal game one, and then believe it or not, they find a way to steal game three at home, they'll be, let me see, 9.5. They'll probably be 3.5 point underdogs, maybe 4.5 point underdogs. They technically, call me crazy here, Matt, but they technically could be up 2 games to one going into game four here.
Maybe, but I still have my skepticism about that because throughout the regular season and throughout the playoffs, it's just been very dominant in how OKC's been able to not only adjust in their losses that they had, especially with that big series against a big series against the Nuggets, but they found a way to set different lineups and be able to adjust and make runs. It's all about runs, as we know. We always say this every time when we talk about the NBA and in college basketball. Basketball is all about runs, especially if you want to solidify yourself as being one of the best teams in the NBA, and that's what OKC is, and in my perspective as of right now. And not to mention, I think when they faced Indiana this season, they won 120 to 114, and Shea Gillis Alexander went completely nuclear with 45 points. So that's going to be a one indication of how Pacers can really defend SGA, and they need to figure out a way to overall how to be able to figure out how to way to defend this team as a whole. It's going to be a tough task. I just don't know how Indiana can do it throughout this entire series. Game one, again, as we mentioned, is going to be the big factor tonight. Other than that, I just don't know how I see it.
Derby follows up with, in the last Indiana Thunder regular season game, OKC SGA was great, but Williams was slashing right through the defense over and over for easy buckets. What will Rick Carlisle do against Williams? And the funny thing is, I don't think Rick Carlisle's getting enough credit. Went up against Tibbs and he kind of schooled them. And I give Carlisle, because of his pedigree, because of his resume, I give him a slight edge here, obviously, in the coaching department with the Pacers. We know they love to score. Hey, they'd love to roll the ball out first one to 130. The problem is, as I always say, is they can't stop a nosebleed. And we know OKC just keeps coming and coming and coming. Their defense is second to none. When the season's over, we're going to look back and be like, OMG, this is, I'm not saying a top 3 or 5 team of all time, but it was one hell of a run, Matthew.
Yeah, and that's going to be the main factor of how Rick Carlisle can be effective against this Thunder team. Not to mention, like as you mentioned before, he has an NBA championship under his belt, especially when he won it with Dallas and beating that big three in LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh in their first year in the Miami Heat. So they have that experience. They have that. He has that kind of pedigree to win an NBA championship. It's just a matter of he's facing a different beast in a young, athletic, and high-paced offense in OKC who can also play defense. That's the biggest thing. And to Derby's comment, I think that the way OKC can defend Jalen Williams is keep him off the perimeter and make him a slasher. That's the way he saw it, and that's the way Derby sees it, and that's how the way I see it as well. Make Jalen Williams try to go to the rim because he's not an effective finisher at the rim, but he can knock down the perimeter shot no matter if it's a mid-range or a three-pointer, especially during the mid-ranges, because him and SGA can definitely knock it down. So I think that the way OKC should defend, or I'm sorry, Indiana should defend Jalen Williams, keep him off the dribble, take him to the dribble drive, and make him be able to go to the rim. The next thing you know, he'll be defended by like Pascal Siakam or Miles Turner on switches. So he'll be just standing on top of them and just being like, well, what do I do from here? I need to pass out or shoot a difficult shot, especially if the shot clock is going down.
Well, Derby did follow up. Naismith did play, but was coming off an injury. 22 minutes, 7 points. Let's dive into it. What do your eyes see in the prop market?
Yeah, so like in terms of tonight, we're going with OKC. As I mentioned, uh, this is going to be the easy one. We're going to do a two leg parlay for a same game parlay tonight with SGA scoring 33.5 points and Chet Holmgren to get a double double at plus 115. Shea Gillis Alexander over 33.5 points at minus 110. Since SGA has hit 30 plus points in each of the four of the last 5 games in the Western Conference Finals. He's going to be obviously the main scoring option for this team. That's why his prop market is points market is so high. And for him, I think this is going to be the biggest reason of why he's going to be able to defend this team and to be able to lead this team into a championship. But he's going to be the reason why. Chet Holmgren for a double double. I think this is going to be a big step up for him going into game one, because he's going to be the tallest player on the floor, and he's going to be the main focal point of how the team can run and also grab rebounds. So we're going to go for him with a double double. It can be also assists as well, because he's a really good passing big man. But either way, we can go for him a double double, and then get that two leg parlay at a plus 3 to 1, depending on how the market changes.
Well, life without Caitlin Clark. 1 week since the last time we talked here. What'd your eyes see in the W or the WNBA over the past week?
Yeah, I mean, what's been rolling right now? The Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx have just been stellar, and they're the two remaining teams that are not have a loss right now. They're completely undefeated right now, and especially I'm keep saying this I'll throw this out to the window every time. The Liberty are still, my opinion, one of the best teams in the WNBA until further notice. Minnesota Lynx are making that kind of run right now, and they're running to the water with that. But the way that this offense has been flowing for the Liberty, it's been second to none. So I would like to see that continue for the Liberty, especially since they're playing tonight against the Mystics. And the way that their offense and their defense has been flowing has just been stellar. The main factor for the Liberty going forward, especially throughout this regular season and into the playoffs, is the play of John Quell Jones. Coach and I did a podcast this week. He did it yesterday, and if you listen to it, he said the same exact thing, and I agree with it as well. John Quell Jones, when she's on the floor, she is a menace on both defense and offense. She can score the ball at will, both the interior and the perimeter, and grab rebounds and play defense like no other in the league. So that's going to be the main factor going into tonight, and also going forward as well throughout the rest of the season of the WNBA.
2 games on the docket tonight. New York travels to Washington overnight. New York minus 10.5 for the 162.5 at the Circa as we speak in Las Vegas. New York minus 13, minus 5 cents means the next move will be to 12.5, 163.5 there. And Golden State travels to Phoenix overnight. Phoenix minus 7.5 with a 157. Had some money trickle in on Golden State today, last night, Now currently at the Circa 6.5 with a 157, minus 15 cents on the 6.5. Next move to 7. Thoughts on New York and Washington?
So we're going to go with the big double, the big dynamic duo. I did mention Jonquel Jones, but I did not put that with the parlay that we had made for tonight. We're going to go with Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart. Sabrina Ionescu, at the last four of the last 5 games, has averaged over 18.5 points per game. So I mean, it makes sense for her to and for her to have that kind of prop of over 18 and a half at plus 104, how I got it last night. And then Brianna Stewart to get over 5.5 rebounds. She's gonna fight for the rebound. She hasn't really been rebounding the ball as much as of late, but I know that she can definitely do that tonight because she's gonna be one of the main focal points, especially on the rebounding end. So we're going to take that at plus 100. You can't parlay this to around 2 to 1, 3 to 1. Again, depending on how the market goes. I got it at plus 270. I got it at plus 276 because the way that the Liberty has been playing, as I mentioned, has been very, very good. So this is another way that this team can definitely be stepping up in terms of the way that the Liberty has been projecting their offense and their defense as well. So definitely go with that for tonight.
And the nightcap 10 o'clock start again. Golden State plus 6.5 with a 157 traveling to Phoenix.
Yes, definitely. And for tonight, we're going with Satu Sable, the best player for the Mercury, averaging 20 points per game. So it makes sense for her to go 20 plus points for tonight. She's been on a tear as of late, and especially since she's hit that number 3 out of the last 5 games at minus 164. So we'll take her for putting 20 plus points. And then for Satu Sable to get over 8.5 rebounds, she's hit that number 5 straight games. So we're gonna take that at minus 104. You can't parlay this at a plus 167. I think it's about 2 to 1 now because the market has moved. But I think that Satu Sable has been absolutely stellar for the Phoenix Mercury because this team has been very surprising for so far this season. Although they did lose their last game, again, I believe against the Liberty, but other than that, this team so far has been super surprising, and coach has them, being over their win total, and I believe 23 and a half. So they're looking really good so far, especially since the Valkyries are again, as we mentioned before, the Valkyries are a new team. They are still trying to figure things out, even though they have gotten some decent wins over the past couple of weeks, but they're still trying to figure their identity out and figuring how they can work well as a team. So we're going with the Phoenix Mercury tonight, and Satu Sabli being the focal point.
Before we wrap this up, a couple quick questions, news, notes, and your thoughts here. Of course, the shocking and breaking news, and we had talked about it before on our show. Coach Tibbs from the Knicks fired. This is a team that some thought overachieved. They took out the defending champs, Boston Celtics. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals. They gave him an extension. He's owed $30 million. When I see something like that, initially it was Dolan or it was the GM. There's trouble in the locker room. Was it Brunson? Was it Cat? Was it Mikal Bridges? A lot of people says he's playing his starters too much. Initial thoughts of Tibbs being fired and who's on deck?
I told everyone this, and coach didn't even believe me as well. I suspected that if Tibbs did not win the Eastern Conference Finals and did not make the NBA Finals in some shape or fashion, that he was going to get fired. It's gonna be the blame on him first more than anything else. It's not gonna be the GM. It's not gonna be on the players getting traded or anything like that. It's gonna be the coach, and then it does suck because it does suck for Knicks fans because he's been the most successful coach of all time in at least in recent history for the New York Knicks. Not to mention that he's led the Knicks to 24 playoff wins. The last time the last time that they were able to do that was Mike D'Antoni, and he only had 7. Everyone else, whether it was interim or being a head coach for the Knicks, has not won a playoff series, or at least a playoff game, excuse me, because they haven't been able to make that leap in the playoffs, even if they were able to make it. So it doesn't surprise me that Tibbs got fired, but it does fall on some of the players as well. Carl Anthony Towns in the series against the Pacers was just non-existent on defense. He was trying to make rotational switches and was just too late on them, and that's why he got exposed on defense. And Miles Turner and guys like Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam were just knocking down threes, especially in the last game in Game 6, and blew the absolute waters and exposed Cat on defense. Brunson was able to do what he does. I don't think there's anything wrong with him specifically in a personal perspective, but the way that this team is constructed, they are constructed to win a championship. It's just a matter of how they can mesh together. Tibbs played his guys too much, and that's what led to the downfall. They need, well, the problem is that the Knicks don't have a good bench. So I hopefully this offseason, even with the amount of free agents and the amount of talent that they have, that they can mesh together and find a way to, better this team, to have a better bench and balance the team out in terms of their minutes. In terms of who could be next, in my perspective, I believe it's Mike Malone. Mike Malone has the good as the championship pedigree as a championship head coach. Obviously, we saw that with the Denver Nuggets before David Allen took his position. And I think that he can bring this team to a championship level team. It's just a matter of how the front office can manage this team in the offseason and bring Mike Malone into the culture of the Knicks. I think that he could be a good combination since that he's worked with big men like Nikola Jokic, so he could definitely translate that over to Karl Anthony Towns unless he gets moved. But I think that this team can run it again next season and be able to compete for a title. It's do or die for the Knicks next season because other than that, your Celtics or the Indiana Pacers again can make a run into the NBA Finals again.
Well, again, we've gone over this, and we're going to go over this throughout the year. I think the East has taken the approach life without Tatum for 1 year. That's number one. Where will Giannis be? Will he still be with Milwaukee? Will the Celtics or someone in the East, Miami, make a power move to get Giannis, or will Giannis go out west? And back to Tibbs, third in playoff wins, only behind the Celtics in Denver. So I think he got the short end of the stick. But Tibbs, don't cry. You got $30 million coming your way, so don't worry about it.
That's true.
Suns hire Jordan Ott as their next head coach. Thoughts there?
Yeah, and if anybody doesn't know him, on Shams Charania did report that he has been a NBA assistant since 2012. He has a strong background and there's a lot of creativity both in the offense and defensive end. So, and he's developed players that have been very good, and especially throughout the years. So, he's been the Cleveland's assistant for the past couple of years and developed good players. Obviously, as we know how the Cleveland Cavaliers have did this past regular season. Obviously, they didn't really go that far in terms of the Eastern Conference playoffs, but he's still a good coach a good assistant when it comes to that. So it's gonna be very interesting on how the Suns can mesh together. Obviously, there's still a lot of trade talks. I know we're going to talk about this in a second with Kevin Durant, but it's going to be a very big step up for Jordan Ott coming into this new role, as he is going to be his first time in the head coaching position. So he's very young, but I think he could work together with this young talent that he has in front of him with the Phoenix Suns.
There's been reports the Suns in serious talk with Houston making a trade for Kevin Durant. Will it fall through? Listen, I am so tired of Kevin Durant, Paul George. I'll throw in Embiid. I'll throw in Kawhi Leonard. That's the past. Look at what we have in the finals this year. A young upstart SGA and the OKC Thunder, Chet Holmgren. The Pacers, Halliburton, they're young, they're youthful. My point is, I don't want these retreads. If Houston wants to make a splash, pick up the phone and call the Celtics. Call the Celtics. We got expiring contracts with Porzingis. We have youthfulness with Drew Holiday. Well, he's going to be 35, so excuse me there. We got Derek White, and you really want to make a splash? Ask Ime about Jaylen Brown. I'm hanging up. I don't want to hear about Kevin Durant and these guys anymore.
I know, and that's what's the funny thing about it. When I first saw the report from the Athletic, I'm like, why would they go for after Kevin Durant? It doesn't make any sense to me per se that they would want to get. I mean, I get it. He has the playoff experience. He has the championships. I understand that, but this is a new age in terms of how the NBA is being constructed. Guys like Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, these guys can make the veteran presence known and understand how the game works in terms of the way you know the way the NBA has been translated, but it's not how the league is right now. The league is now making a run and young players just being able to go up and down the court without any fatigue and without any repercussion. So it's very funny that OKC's or that Houston is trying to reach out to the Phoenix Suns, or I'm sorry, the other way around, in the way the Phoenix is trying to reach out to Houston and trying to make a trade for Kevin Durant. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm scratching my head too with you, Jeff, but I mean, we'll see. If they can follow through as well, because the Phoenix is desperately trying to get draft picks because they don't have one until I believe 2030. So they don't even they've been swapping draft picks. They've been doing all this kind of let's call it non, I would say kind of nonsense, because they had Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant, and this trio could not work. Like, how can you figure out this team throughout the rest of the year and the coming years going forward? It doesn't make any sense.
I'm done. I'm done with them.
I don't blame you.
Tomorrow we'll have you on around 11:30, 11:35. We're going to talk the recap of Game 1, OKC, Indiana. We'll give you a perspective on Game 2. We'll talk some WNBA, of course. Scroll has been going the whole time here. They can follow you at MG28 Sports. I know you and met you at the Sports Grid. But as we always wrap up this segment, Matthew, tell them where they can find your podcast with Coach James Young and anything else that you may have.
Yep, and Tuesday and Wednesdays you can see Jeff Dawson as well at least once a week on in-game live game day on Sports Grid, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Where I produce that show, and Coach James Young and I do a podcast, as Jeff mentioned, that gets released Tuesday and Thursday. We record Monday and Wednesday talking about all NBA, WNBA, and college basketball, especially since the draft is coming up at the end of the month. So it's going to be very interesting on how that unfolds as well. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting on how everything goes in terms of the NBA Finals. We're ready to go. It's going to be a very interesting and very fun NBA Finals to watch.
Matthew, enjoy the game. Get the popcorn, pom-poms, get yourself ready, and we'll see you tomorrow around 11:30, 11:35.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Go follow Matthew at MG28 Sports. Catch him on the Grid, Sports Grid in-game live Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Of course, catch all his podcasts with Mr. Coach James Young. Quick commercial break, and we'll wrap it up. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Good Food. At Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, you'll find the highest quality meats from a variety of delicious cuts, tomahawks, salmon fillets, ribeyes, and plenty more to choose from. With an easy-to-use mobile-friendly website, selecting your pick of meat is made quick and easy. And don't forget, worrying about your dinner is a thing of the past. Check out some of the amazing subscription packages that Atlanta Steaks and Seafood has to offer. Fresh steak and seafood straight to your door. Order online at atlantasteaksandseafood.com.
Great show. I love my Thursdays and Fridays with Matthew. He dedication, pride, work ethic. It's something that the youth in our spaces, don't have or we don't see enough of. It's too easy to go to Chat, GPI, Grok, whatever, but you can feel the passion there. Back in my days, we had to go to the the library. Grab the Webster's Dictionary or something like that. So these kids are blessed, and I don't even think they know it. But I know Matthew knows and understands that, of course. Tomorrow, busy day. 9:30 a.m. I will be a guest with Andrew McGinnis at Wager Talk, at McGinnis Picks, talking NHL, talking some CFL. CFL kicks off today as we're super stoked there. Ottawa travels to Saskatchewan. Currently, Saskatchewan -3 with a 48. 11 a.m. We got a full slate here. NCAA Insiders Baseball. Matt Grissom, Quentin Mills, Nick Hatko breaking down the super regionals. We're down to the Sweet 16 in baseball. Only 8 will get to Omaha, so make sure you're ready there. Matthew will be back at 11:30. And around 11:50, 11:55, Sean Alvarez, Mr. Smooth Turn 2, will be here to break down the Belmont as we'll get a little journalism versus sovereignty, but there's a couple other horses that I think could be problems there, so we're super stoked. Make sure you join there. Around 1:30, 2 o'clock, Scotty Webb will be back for MLB Friday Night Bright Lights to recap what has happened throughout the week and, of course, get you set for Friday. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Mr. Matthew George at MG28 Sports, have a blessed day, and we'll see you soon.